I think unequivocally I can say that Ardley Hebert is one of the best doctors I've ever seen. I want to introduce the second half of the medical 10 minutes, and someone who has grown up with him and probably knows him better than most of us. From high school through medical school and beyond, Sonny Young and Ardley have been both friends and colleagues. Ardley's outlasted both of us, though. Sonny's retired, too. At least he wasn't last week. I haven't checked with him today about that. Anyway, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sonny Young tonight.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Hey, Daddy. I get very emotional, so I brought I might crack up and have to stop a few times. I don't make a lot of speeches. I've been practicing this on my cows. With your permission, may I digress just a minute and address the governor. Governor, I don't say anything political, but I'm proud of your physical appearance tonight. It reminded me of the time when LSU was playing Ole Miss and you came in on a little helicopter and you walked down the middle and we won the game. And then on television, you looked like you were getting fat and plump and old. And you walked in here tonight, you look great. And I congratulate you. Doesn't he look good? Man, he looks nice. Dr. Sudduth is a hard act to follow. You know, he's got a lot of wit and humor. It's almost as smart as Dr. Hebert. But I have a lot of personal things that I want to say about Ardley. And what I'm going to tell you, I want you to know it's on the level. You understand? And it's the fact truth. Now, Ardley never did tell the truth. He always told the fact truth. Y'all know that, huh? Well, I first met Ardley in 1939, 55 years ago. He was just recovering from a 4-year bout of osteomyelitis, staphylococcus infection of the long bones. He was treated by Dr. Elridge and Ms. Hebert. Wasn't much they could do. They'd open him up and scrape him out and wash him out with mercurochrome. How many people remember mercurochrome? Wow. One shot of penicillin and it cured it. But this doctor stayed in bed for 4 years in high school. 4 years. And I think by a miracle, he got well. And I think that had a lot to do with his decision to become a doctor and to be a good doctor. Ardley went on to SLI, and I went on to LSU in Baton Rouge in pre-med, but then we got back together at LSU Medical School, thanks to Huey Long. We had a fine school on that. And we were roommates in a boarding house. Yeah, all you people, y'all don't know what boarding house is. Y'all know what condominiums, apartments, and all that fancy stuff, but we lived in a boarding house with Ms. Osborne. And it wasn't so bad. The only bad thing, we had to walk about a half a mile in the rain to catch the Broad Street bus. Then we'd get a transfer to the 2-lane streetcar. But that wasn't too bad, except we had a jug of urine in our hand, 24-hour specimen of our own urine that we had to test every day. Then we didn't have that. We had a box of human bones. We had to study all the bones. And the boxes weren't so good, and the bones kept falling out of the streetcars. We were picking up bones off the bus. People were horrified. But we made that. And in 1950, Ardley came back to Abbeville, to the famous Palms Hospital. Rooms were $4 a day, my friend, $4. Operating room was $10, and a general anesthetic with 2.5 gallons of ether was $5. And Ardley performed, under those circumstances, many near miracles and saved a lot of young lives, lots of young lives. One thing about the Palms Hospital, we didn't have infectious disease controls and patterns and committees and things, but we never had any wound infections. Never had a wound infection when you went to surgery. And we finally concluded that the only reason that we never had any wound infections at the Palms Hospital because the cracks in the floors and the walls were so big that the germs couldn't hold on to anything, and they just slid out and left the building. But anyway, then we were fortunate enough to have the founding and opening of the Abbeville General Patriarch ever since. He's got a little sign in front of his office out there that says, Ardley Hebert, General Surgery. I think we ought to go over there and put a bunch of little signs under there. Orthopedic surgeon, neurosurgeon, psychiatrist, general practitioner, family practitioner, et cetera, et cetera. He's always maintained a very highly ethical and professional practice. And I want you to know that there never was a normal, unborn child that was ever touched by a surgical instrument held in this great doctor's hand. You talk about pro-life, that's pro-life right there. And because his mom and daddy made him do that. Okay, Ardley used to have a saying, you know, it don't cost much more to go first class, hell, let's do it. And he adhered to that philosophy, and by doing so, he has amassed and lost several fortunes in his lifetime. One thing about Ardley, he never had a hair problem. When I was young, my hair began to get thin and it got gray. Yeah, it did. And then Ardley's was getting thin and gray. And then Ardley's hair began to get darker and darker and thicker and thicker. And the last 10 or 15 years, it's kind of turned reddish brown. You know, I never could understand that. I just couldn't understand that. I guess it's the genetic makeup and the genes and all, but anyway, I want to talk about charity. This doctor, one of my best friends, has done as much charity as the Diocese of Lafayette. And that's according to the latest Nielsen ratings, my friend. No one ever bothered Ardley when you were sick. He reminds me of a snapping turtle. When I was little, they used to scare us by saying, "Watch out for those turtles, little boy. If that snapping turtle bites you, he's not going to let go till it thunders." Did anybody ever hear that? Turtle won't let go till it thunders? Boy, that was scary, man. But whenever he was confronted with a medical or surgical emergency, he's like that turtle. And he's going to stay with you. You don't have to call him. He's going to be in there, he's going to be in there, and he's going to be out of there, and he'll almost bother you to death. And then you get to feeling good. You're getting well. Well, that's where you made your mistake, because he's going to let you go, and you can't find him now. He's gone. He snapped on to somebody else that's in trouble. And he's there. I want to talk about dying. Ardley once said that if I could keep people from dying, my mother and daddy would be here now. This doctor has the uncanny ability to make death, tragedies like that, very easy on the patient as well as the family. I've been through 3 tragedies with him. But I've been hunting with him. And I left to hunt. The only thing about hunting season that I dreaded was I had to go to his camp. And every year I'd have to listen to the same jokes that I heard last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and I had to pretend that I hadn't heard them, and I had to listen to the whole damn thing and laugh when I got through. But other than that, good times, Ardley. He had the good fortune of being good friends with Mr. Lawrence Snow Noel, who is his advisor and I don't know, general manager or whatever. So one day, they were down at Pecan Island. My camp is next to his. They were at Pecan Island, and they were taking a couple of nips out of some kind of jug or something. I don't know what it was. Snow Noel said, "You know, Ardley, your camp's getting kind of low on the ground. We can't get under there to fix them pipes." He says, "Doc," he says, Snow says to Ardley, he says, "Ardley, you better raise this camp." Well, raise it he did. Man, he raised that thing 20 feet in the air and put it on some pilings. The yard was full of all of McDermott's cranes. You should have seen that. Well, you will. Anyway, you can't talk about 55 years in 5 minutes. One more little story I want to tell you. This was in med school. And we were medical students, and we were invited to Dr. Nix's house. Dr. Nix was an old, established medical family in New Orleans, and they were on Broad Street or Broadway Street or something. And the Archbishop of the Diocese of Lafayette was going to talk to us. It was a Newman Club, Catholic organization. Art and I were both Catholic. So the Archbishop came to talk, and boy, did he talk. And he talked, and he talked. And all of the poor students were just, they'd come up and Finally, the Archbishop sat down, and nobody knew what he said. Talked too long. So then our faculty advisor, Dr. Edgar Hull, who was loved hardly by all the students, got up, and we were afraid that here comes the Archbishop again, you know. But Dr. Hull made one of the finest speeches. Now this is, you're talking about 50 years ago. The Archbishop talked for 30 minutes and nobody knows what he said. Dr. Hull, he'd seen us falling asleep, and we were students, but he called us doctors. He says, well, doctors, he says, like St. Peter said to Jesus on the top of the mountain, he says, Lord, it's good to be here. And he sat down. That was the end of his speech, man. And all the students stood up and clapped. And 50 years later, we remember that. Ardley and I were there. Well, Ardley's not God yet, but I believe if he keeps working at it, he's going to get there. So what I'm going to say is that it's been good to be with you. And I'm so happy that you are so much younger than me, because I don't want to be here when you're gone.
Phil, good luck on your new record. Well, you've heard about the political life of Dr. Hebert as coroner. You've heard about his medical practice from Sonny and Perry. Now you're going to hear about his family. I understand that we got quite a few of them here tonight, and I'd like for Dr. Hebert's family. BB, we didn't recognize you, and that was purposely. We wanted you to stand up with the rest of his family. I'm going to introduce Mark to come in and comment about his family, but I want all the Hebert family to stand up. Everybody who's remotely related to Ardley, please stand up. That's probably going to be everybody over here. Great. Look at this. Look at this. Thank you. I understand his sister was visiting from New York one time and went to the hospital, and she was so proud about how Ardley was very important, and she kept hearing on the PA system, Ardley in the cafeteria, Ardley in the emergency room, Ardley in the administration office. So she went to his office and says, Ardley, you must be the most important man in the world. How can you be in all these places at one time? He says, it wasn't Ardley, it was Ardley was being called. But she was proud of him nevertheless. I'm happy that I represent the doctors on the defense side rather than on the plaintiff side, and I want to say that if I have an illness, I'm going to go see these guys. One key ingredient, though, is Dr. Hebert's love for the legal profession, which is unusual when you've got the doctors liking the lawyers, but he has no trouble doing that because his family is prolific in the presence of lawyers, judges, district attorneys in his family. I believe there are 5 or 6, and there may be more, Ardley. I'm not sure. I'm going to let Mark make the comments. I'm not sure that he claims all of them, but I know one that he claims, and that's our Assistant District Attorney, Mark Ami, who is a nephew, and will make comments about the family of Dr. Ardley Hebert. Mark?
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, everyone. As a small child at a family reunion, I discovered an amazing thing. It was a real coincidence that many of us children had all been born on a Tuesday. I ran to my mother, and I asked her for an explanation. I said, Mother, a bunch of us were all born on Tuesdays. Can you tell me how you all got together and arranged that? Without hesitation, Mother looked at me, and she said, Tuesday was Uncle Ardley's surgery day. The point is, of course, that for so many of us here, Dr. Hebert has touched our lives from the first moment we were born until now, and he will for many years in the future. So it is with great pleasure that I take a moment to make a few remarks on behalf of our family in honor of this man whom we love so much. Many centuries ago, women sat before their fires in the evening, and by candlelight, with fine multicolored thread, they laboriously wove great treasures called tapestries. The tapestries they made depicted scenes of their lives and were enormously valuable, both because of the great labor that it took to weave them, and also because of their wondrous beauty when they were done. Like a tapestry from those times, Uncle Ardley's accomplishments are the result of great effort. But they are also an example to all of us of great beauty in living. However, having known Uncle Ardley for all of my life, I can say with certainty that those things about which Uncle Ardley is most proud and for which he has the greatest love are his friends and his family. Uncle Ardley has always put his family first, and all of his wonderful achievements throughout his lifetime are the result of his efforts to do the very best because he loves us. How many of us have felt his warmth as he showed up at our homes when we had a fever as children? How many of us have heard him say, "Give him 2 aspirin and just a little Coke, and his fever will be gone in the morning"? Or, "It's just a little mosquito bite now," as he gave us that shot of penicillin. I know that all of you know what I mean when I say that Uncle Ardley always took care of us. Uncle Ardley's family life began in a small town in Theriot, Louisiana, where his father was a rice farmer. He was one of 9 children, and his first thoughts of becoming a physician resulted from the deep loss he felt at the death of his younger brother, Gordon Hebert, who died because the healing arts of that time were not able to cure his childhood illness. Again, his love for his family drove him to new achievements as he recovered from a bone disease during his adolescence. And after medical school, as an adult, he fathered 3 fine sons and 3 lovely daughters. They and his grandchildren still form the center of Uncle Ardley's life. Anytime that you go to Uncle Ardley's camp, he'll have at least one of his children and several grandchildren with him there. His sons, Robert, David, and Chris, are here with us tonight. And his daughters, Tessa, Molly, and Serena, are also here to celebrate this evening with us. His other daughter, Jan, unfortunately is out of the country, but is here with us in spirit. They, along with his wife, Bibi, form the center portrait on Uncle Ardley's tapestry. Knit tightly around him, but in beautiful array, are his parents and brothers and sisters. The family of his brother, Irby Hebert, is here with us tonight, and also the families of his sisters. And I'll say them in no particular order, okay? One of his sisters, my mother, Anita Hebert-Ami, Ora Hebert-Werner, Beulah Hebert-Stansbury-Jones, Wava Hebert-Budden, and Amy Hebert-Bro, and all of their families are with us. Although not with us, I know that my grandparents, Serena and Ove Hebert, and Aunt Lydia, Mrs. Gabriel Mouton, and Uncle Irby Hebert, are also joining with us on this occasion as we celebrate for Uncle Ardley. Finally, Charles just recognized the family of Uncle Ardley and all of his family members. I'd like to ask that they rise again for just a minute for me, all of the children and all of the family members of Uncle Ardley, and remain standing. Stand up with me. And now, join us if you are a friend of Dr. Hebert, if he has touched your life in any way, if he's helped you in good times or in bad, if you owe him a debt of gratitude and are happy for him tonight, please, friends, stand up. Uncle Ardley, this is your family. We know that you've always been proud of us, and we're here tonight to say that we're proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Ardley, you know it's a great tribute to you when Jude Perry's still here. I'll get you, Jude, for leaving all his parties early. I hope that when Dr. Ardley comes up here to make some response that he feels comfortable enough to tell you a story about he and his brother Irby going to a hunting trip where Uncle Otto was involved. It's a great short story, and he does a great job of telling it. It's one of those that Perry says, that Sonny said we heard every time at the duck camp, but it's a great story, Ardley. And I don't know if you want to tell it, and you be comfortable in doing it. Let me introduce a couple other guys who have some special presentations, and we almost finished with our program. You can't honor a guy like Ardley Hebert in 15 minutes, and we thank you for your patience. But Aubrey Blanchette of the Vermilion Parish Police Jury and the Abbeville General Hospital Vice Chief of Staff, John Budden, will come up to make special presentations. Then I'm going to call upon somebody else at the head table to introduce our honoree for his responsive comments. So Aubrey and Dr. Budden. Now.
Dr. Hebert, your friends and the committee who helped sponsor this banquet would like to present you this gift. And thank you for everything you've done for our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is the camp I raised up.
Hey, for those of you who can't see it from the back, it's Dr. Hebert's camp in Pecan Island. And I have a feeling tonight he'd like to be there.
An original John Becherel. Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Get down.
Really? Thank you so much. Raise it up.
Good evening. Over 30 years ago, our then President John F. Kennedy looked out across America and thought that most Americans did not do enough for their country. He uttered the famous words, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but rather what you can do for your country." I don't believe he meant that each individual needed to do something specifically for the country, but rather should do something for their community. For most of us, that was a new concept, something we'd never really thought we'd never entertained. But for Dr. Hebert, who at that time had been in practice for 11 or 12 years, it was a way of life. And I believe that Dr. Hebert had exemplified the type of person that President Kennedy would have wanted all of us to be. As someone alluded to a little bit earlier this evening, Dr. Hebert had overcome some various serious life-threatening illnesses in his pre-medical education. He then underwent a very arduous medical education and residency program before he completed his general surgical residency. Then, instead of being lured by big city lights, big major medical centers, and so forth, he decided instead to come back home to his community. And I believe that since then, Vermilion Parish has been a much richer place, and it will continue to be a richer place with his presence. Speaking on behalf of the entire medical community of the parish, I can assure you that every single medical staff member looks up to Dr. Hebert as a role model. We realize that we can never be a Dr. Hebert, but we also realize that that is something that we can strive to be. Thank you. What I'd like to do is to present to Dr. Hebert a plaque on behalf of the medical community of Vermilion Parish. If I could read it, it says, "Presented to Dr. Ardley Hebert, March 23rd, 1994, for a lifetime of dedicated humanitarian service to our medical community since 1950, the date that he went into practice." Thank you, Dr. Hebert.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dr. Budden. He happens to be a nephew, too, I understand. Is that right now? Got nephews all over the place. Lawyers, doctors, everybody. In introducing our honoree, I thought that maybe I should call upon someone who spans the time a little bit, like Sonny or Perry, who's gone through a lot of times, good times and bad with Ardley. Someone who remembers when you didn't have money, you were broke. And it's not like nowadays when you're politically correct, you don't say you're broke, you say you're economically disadvantaged or financially challenged, I think is the word. And we're not fat anymore, we're just full-figured, which may not be too bad. I want to call upon my good neighbor who's short. No, that's not right. He's vertically challenged. Revis Sermon, who spans the time when sex was safe and riding motorcycles was dangerous. Revis Sermon.
Thank you, Charles. I'll remember that. Thank you, folks. I'll tell you, it's hard to follow all these people. I think they've all said everything that could be said. And so I don't know what I'm going to end up saying here before the night's over. But I want to tell you that I did practice my speech. A few days ago, I met Sonny, and he told me, he says, Revis, I'm really working on my speech. He says, I go out to the farm, and he says, I talk to my cows. He said, I tell my cows, and he says, I'm really getting good at it. I don't have any cows. I talk to my cats. I don't know if it's my speech or the delivery, but they didn't seem too impressed. They just lay there. But anyway, I practiced on my cats. It's amazing how I got here tonight. It really is. I went to this committee meeting. You know, most of the people in town, 15, 18, 20 good people working on this committee, and I'm invited to serve on this committee. And I thought, well, I'm really honored. And of course now they're going to say, well, we're going to break this thing down and give different people duties, and somebody was going to be in charge of the flowers or the food or the wine or that, and then Revis is in charge of the finance. How do you think that happened to me? Huh? It sounds like the old days of Edwin, you know. Revis, I need some money. Anyway, that's how I ended up getting this job tonight. I got here, and it wasn't hard to raise money. There's 3 ways down in Cajun country, 3 easy ways to raise money. One is for the church. People are going to give to the church. You know, they know that that's the way to heaven, and so they're going to cough up with their money. The other is for their doctor, because they want to be sure their doctor has everything that he needs and is happy, and so he'll take good care of them when they're sick. And of course, the third one is Edwin. Why people here give me so much money to give Edwin, I'll never know. Except I think it might be this. I think they think one of these days, when he's in Vegas, and he hits a real lucky streak, he's going to win that town. He's going to win the whole town. And he's going to either bring it here to Louisiana for us, or he's going to take us over there to it. House was on the other side of the canal. It was the 7th Ward Canal. Now, why wasn't it the 6th Ward Canal, you know? It could have been my Ward Canal, but it was the 7th Ward Canal. That's what we called it. We weren't very far, just 2 or 3 miles. I was from this town that they were talking about, the town of Theriot. The town of Theriot was Dadaculin's store. That was the whole town right there. But I'd go to that town, you know, as I got a little bit older, and I could go riding across the countryside on my horse. I'd go to Theriot. In fact, I'd go to Theriot more and more often, and so finally one day, Mother asked Dad, well, why is Revis going across there to Theriot so much? And so Dad says, well, Lizzie, says, have you seen those beautiful daughters of Toby Bears? He had a bunch of them over there. Ardley was a good friend, but he had some good-looking sisters, too. So we drifted apart. As we got a little bit older, he went off to medical school, and I went into the military. And we were apart for just a few years, but it seemed like quite a while, but 5 or 6, 8 years. And then the war was over, and Ardley was out of medical school, and back together we came. Boats, hunting camps, you know, fishing, everything, and we became very, very close friends, as we were when we were really young. He was there when my father-in-law passed away of lung cancer from having been poisoned with poisonous gas during World War I. He was there to deliver my son Johnny. He was there when my mother-in-law died of a heart attack. He was there when my mother passed away at 99.7 years. He'd taken care of her for many, many years. He was there a year and a half ago when my brother was killed on a tractor accident. He is now taking real good care of my wife. And of course he takes care of my aches and pains too. So he's been a real part of my family as far as their medical needs. Now, let me tell you something. All of you out there, I plan to outlive all of you. But when I'm getting ready to pass, so to speak, I'm sure that Ardley's going to be sitting there on my bedside, holding my hand as I go. I insist on that. When I get talking about this function, he objected to it. He didn't want to have it when we talked about it a few years ago. He said that he just didn't want people to believe that he was going to be retiring. He said, if we have this function, he says, the people will think I'm retiring, or I'll feel like I should retire. So he said, I don't think I really want to have the function, but we decided to have it anyway. I mean, we picked a secret meeting place. We met at the Abbeville General Hospital in the boardroom. We met there at lunch and at noontime and had a wonderful lunch. We had several meetings there, and over the period of 5 or 6, 8 weeks, you know, planning this thing. Now, Ardley wasn't supposed to know this was going on. Well, we could have met at his house maybe and got away with that because he's always at the hospital. But certainly we could not meeting at the hospital. I think he might have known that something was going on, but he never admitted it. He never said anything that acted like that he knew what was going on. So officially, last Sunday we decided, well, we better officially tell him that we're having this function. You know, out of courtesy, we need to do this for him. So, sure enough, who got chose for that job too? Well, Revis, you've known him longer than anybody. You go ahead and call him. So I called him on Sunday and told him I had some medical papers I wanted him to look at, and he says, well, I'm kind of busy. He says, BB's got me working in the yard here, doing a lot of yard work, but he said, I'll tell you what, Revis, he said, I'll meet you down at my office at 2 o'clock. So I got Cecil and Picard and Parish Sudduth together, and we got in a car and we drove there to Ardley's office, and sure enough, we parked there, and Ardley drives up. And he seemed a little shocked and surprised to see 3 of us there, but then his face lit up, and he really looked happy to see all of us. I could just see what he was thinking. He's thinking, now they're here to ask me to run for some political office. Governor. This is it, the governor. Well, we didn't ask him to run for governor. You got by again, Edwin. But look, I'm telling you, we didn't ask him this time. So you're gonna get by here in 1995. But you better watch out for 1999 and 2003 or whatever it is, because Ardley's a political animal. He likes politics, And we're not going to be able to hold him back. So let me tell you, I was going to mention Uncle Otto, but my neighbor over here already said that, and I was going to say something about Whoopi Goldberg. He said that, so I'm not going to talk about anything more. And I just want to remind all of you, before I introduce Ardley and ask him to stand up here and say a few words, that any and all of you now that are scheduled for surgery tomorrow morning, you be at that hospital because he's going to be at work. Ardley Hebert, my great lifelong friend.
Thank y'all. First, I want to say I feel very unworthy of all of this. And I want to first thank God for my health through these years, and I thank God for my health today. And for those of you, my patients, who are concerned that I might retire soon, I'm happy to tell you that I'm in excellent health, and I plan to be here for another decade or two.
All right.
I do thank God for everything, and I want to thank my wife for her help and support through the years, and without her I probably wouldn't be here standing before you tonight. I want to thank my family, my friends, and all of you who have come here tonight. And I can't tell you how touched I am and how overwhelmed I am by all of this. And I feel rather unworthy, as I say. But nevertheless, I thank you for being here and for doing this. I really appreciate it. Governor, I thank you for coming. And all of you who have gone to so much trouble to swing this deal, I thank you. And I'm told that some of the members on the arrangement committee even gained 10 pounds while with so many meetings at the hospital because the Ray fed them so well. I promised the governor I wouldn't keep him here too long. I know he has things to do. But I can't go home without telling you a little story. They told you I was a pediatrician and a surgeon and etc. What he didn't tell you, I'm also a mind reader, and I can tell by reading your mind that a lot of you want to get the hell out of here. So I just want to tell you one little story. This lady from Texas she had so much confidence in me, she came all the way from Texas to see me. And I examined her, and it was important for me to know if she had passed some blood. And in French, for those of you who don't understand French, you say, est-ce que vous avez passé du sang? Madame, est-ce que vous avez passé du sang? And you know that we didn't pass any du sang. We cut across Crowley and Kaplan. This happened 25 years ago. And also 25 years ago, I was very tired. I'd been up in surgery all night, busy at the office all day. And it was about 6 o'clock, and we had seen the last patient and getting my messages. And my nurse says to me, she says, a young man just walked in, and he wants a physical exam. He wants to go to work for Union Oil. I say, oh, Lord. I say, okay. I say, give him this blank and make him fill out all that social information, and I make a few phone calls. I talked on the phone for 10 minutes at the hospital and did all my messages. And I came to see him. I said, how do you do, young man? He said, Doc, he said, I need to go to work for Union Oil, and I need a physical. He said, I'm so happy that you agreed to take me. I said, that's no problem. I said, did you fill out the blank like the nurse told you? He said, yes, I did the best I could. He said, so I read what he had written, and it said, name, John Doe, age 19, sex one time in Opelousas. I know you're tired, and I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
We can't top that. That's the end of our evening. Bibi, thank you for sharing him with us. Dr. Hebert, thank you for sharing your life with us, and hope that you will share a lot more of it with us. Father Marty, you want to do the honors and do the benediction, and we can call this evening over. Thank you.
When I first came to Abbeville 8 years ago now, I began to meet Dr. Hebert mostly at 2 o'clock in the morning, usually, at the hospital. And we developed a great relationship over the years. And after Mass one Sunday, when I used one of the special blessings, he said he liked that. And it's the blessing from the book of Numbers in the Old Testament, the blessing of Moses. And I've been using that. Most people from St. Teresa know I use it on all the weekend Masses. So we close with the blessing of the book of Numbers, the blessing of Moses this evening. May God bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he look upon you with kindness and give you his peace. And may Almighty God bless each of us this evening, and especially bless our real good friend, Dr. Hebert. We ask this in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight to help us honor Dr. Hebert.
Thank you for staying with us.
Good job, guys. Are you going to the Thomas spot? Yes. I don't know.
I'm just so happy you came, you know.
Oh, couldn't miss that. I'll see you, Doc.
Okay.
I saw you made it, huh?
Hey, Cecil. Yeah, I made it.
The governor is in Shreveport. Well, he's on his way. He's in Shreveport, and they called me and said, what is the absolute latest that he could be here? I said, well, 6:30. So he's on his way, and I'm sure he'll be here in any minute now.
Wonderful.
But he's coming directly from Shreveport.
Wonderful. Well,
we'll check and see if there's any
I'm just so happy you were able to come, Cecil.
Oh, shit, man. I wouldn't have missed it.
Hey, how you been?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well,
hello.
Overdue. Hey, how you doing?
Thank you for seeing me. Aubrey. Aubrey, you sure you weren't responsible for this?
You what now?
You sure you weren't responsible for all this?
No, not me, no. How you doing?
Hey, how you been, GB?
Real good. How's your family?
Fine. Everybody's fine, thank you.
Everybody coming in tonight?
Glad to see you.
We're glad to see you. Thank you for coming.
Coming in?
Mr. Ken, too.
How you been, Jeff?
Mr. Paul.
I love you.
I love you, too.
Comment ça va? Good to see you. Hello.
I'm Dr. Borrell. I'm a friend of Orly's.
Oh, welcome.
C'est moi.
Comment ça va?
Very bien.
How you
Glad
been,
to see
neighbor?
you.
Fine, good to see you.
Nice that they honored you like this.
Thank you.
How do you say that? Lori Mama Yaribe.
Love maman, yeah. Love maman, yeah, that's how you say that.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
When I read your article, I read it twice and I cried 3 times.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Don't make me cry. There's a lot more I could have written, you know, but we love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Alice? How you doing, Alice?
Fine. You're
How you
looking
doing, Jeff?
good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. What do you say?
Congratulations.
You brought the doctor?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
One mission for the world.
I'm happy you're here. Thank you for coming.
I said I came back from KISS.
What do you say, cousin?
Fine.
Well, you know I have a lot of pretty cousins. I had forgotten about that.
Congratulations. You're well deserved of this.
Thank you, doll. You brought Albert?
Yeah.
Comment ça va?
Good seeing you.
Good to see you, Al.
I've seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, we met before.
I was telling Flo, I first met that son of a gun in summer school, 1940.
Been a long time.
You had a cousin with you, Bernard.
Yeah.
What was his first name? The cousin of yours.
Don't remember his first name, but anyway, that was a summer month, summer school.
Right. Summer school.
SLI,
Right.
1940.
That's right. You have to correct the newspapers. They said that you were a graduate of the University of Southwest. Yeah, that's wrong.
You know better than that, huh?
That's a lie. Good seeing you.
Thank you for coming. What do you say, doctor?
Did you finish planting those roses?
Yeah, I sure did.
Hey, I'm
Fine. How are you? How you do, sir?
I'm fine, thanks.
I'm so glad y'all came.
What a great duck hunt we had.
Hey, it's going to be better next season.
Count on it.
We put the feet out right now.
All right.
How do you do? You met my brother-in-law? He came all the way down from Rochester hoping he would meet you.
Oh, he did. Well, he did. Well, this is really great. Look at the crowd.
I've been trying to get him to play golf with me now for 6 days.
Not my fault.
He's too busy.
You come to New York, I'll play with you every day.
If I go to New York, you play golf with me every day. But you've been here 6 days, you didn't have time to play with me.
I don't have to say so.
His card goes with it. That was in my pictures. I remember that in my house.
I'd forgotten that.
Flipping off.
This was James Tucker. He was Hitler and I was Uncle Sam.
Yeah, I didn't know who this guy was. They twist this over. Okay, good.
Where'd you find that?
We went through her pictures. I was going to put that. I don't know where you have your stuff. You have some cards, or they put some cards there.
I don't know. I'll give it to BB after a while. Laura. That was 1941.
Yeah, I remember that. You were USL.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You had seen this before?
I'd seen it before, yes. I was working in Lafayette at the time. I remember that.
That's when you used to clean your silver.
She went through my pictures, Ardley. I had that in her pictures.
Well, I'm glad to see this again. I'll let you hold it.
Okay.
I might lose it, okay? Thank you, Sheila.
We're looking for something of those college days.
That was 1941.
Yeah, and I have it written down, too. I should have put it on the back. You remember that, huh?
Oh, yeah. We were, it was during, right after Pearl Harbor, you know? When Uncle Sam would say, I want you and all that.
Yeah.
But it was right after Pearl Harbor. This is James Tucker, my fraternity brother. Hey, Doe.
One of my favorite people.
How you doing, Dom? Good to see you.
Gosh, this is so nice, Ardley. I'm so proud.
Thank you for coming. I hope I'm worthy of all this.
You know you are. Everybody has such great things to say about you. You're everyone's friend, Ardley.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming.
TJ and I've always loved you. You know that.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Okay, trivia.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed. It's, it's a little too much for me.
Love you.
It's a little too much for me.
One compliment
You know that,
a day
Bill.
will hold you better, huh?
We need to go back to Tilton, Texas. San Miguel River.
Exactly.
Remember that?
Okay,
Hey, hon. Oh, excuse me. How you doing, dog?
Fine. How are you?
You look wonderful. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to
Thank
see
you for being
I
here.
think this is wonderful.
Jim. I was about to ask you, where's Jim? Here he is.
How you doing, He was following me and Ruby was following.
We're really happy for you.
You know who I think teaches Mark a lot about politics, and Jim. I've seen Mark gets more and more polished politician as it goes on. I think Jim's teaching him.
How you doing?
B.I. How you doing, B.I.?
I had to park 4 blocks away from you.
Hey, how are you, Doc?
Mike over there. How you doing? I want to thank. We're good friends with the Mayhead School. Just to go and word on I'm a real good friend.
Yes, I've heard a story about your father. I knew him so well. He's a wonderful man. He's very calm, never get excited. He's an easy going. He's a great man. Your father's a great man.
A lot of people here, partner. You doing all right?
How you doing, Mr.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Comment ça va, Doc?
Good turnout.
Tu connais ma petite femme, Noël? Congratulations.
Greatest storyteller in the world.
What's that, Mike? Hey, Jim. How you doing?
What's that, Doc?
Good to see you, Doc.
Good to see you.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here with you.
Very happy to be here. I deserve whatever they think.
Oh, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. You're looking great. Let's see, Mom. We've been fun some holidays.
Money. Thank you for
having us. I sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
How you been, Morris?
I've been fine. How are you doing? This is your special day, and you deserve every bit of honor that you get.
Well, thank you for saying that.
First, I've only known you for 9 months. It's a real pleasure practicing with you.
It's a pleasure practicing with you too, and we're all happy to have you here.
Oh, not as much as I'm happy to be here. Wait a minute.
Yeah? We're having a radiological meeting here.
No, we're not. Listen, Alice was telling me that she has been knowing you and practicing around you for
35 years.
35 years.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I do.
Anyway,
Good to see you. Doggone, it's a magnificent occasion.
it's good to be here.
Well, that's great.
Still going to do his job. Oh, he's
How you doing?
when we young.
Isn't this something? Look at the people here.
Hey,
There's something great.
I
Makes
think-
you want to go to Pecan Island, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You right?
Yeah.
I think I'll sit and drink some of this iced tea. I feel like I have a dry mouth. Hey.
Congratulations. I think this is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
are so deserving.
Thank you. I hope so. Thank,
Definitely.
thank you very much.
The governor was, we're kind of waiting on him to get here, then we can get everything going. I guess as soon as he shows, we'll get it kicked off.
looking for Dr. Hebert.
It's his night off. How you been, Judge?
Hi, Dr. Ardley.
Thank you.
I'm here, and I want to tell you, I think this is wonderful.
Thank you for coming.
And
I do too.
I think it's just wonderful.
I think it's great that they did this. And they really pulled it off with superb style, I'll tell you.
I was saying it's too bad nobody likes you. Look at
Yeah,
all the people
these
here.
people-
Yeah, they just came for the
People were forced to come.
Just for the food.
Hey, June.
Congratulations.
Thank you, June. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
We honor red and wine with that white wine. Change for the camera now. Put them on the table, all the red wine.
I told him, I said, try. I said, I got three of them. And Tara, my son's really good stuff. He's all in that. And he said, no. Yeah, it's always
Yeah, they asked
that far from the Highland area?
How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How you doing?
Very good.
Good to see you.
I remember when he was 35 years old. And we used to do it 3 times a day. We'd hunt in the morning, we'd hunt at noon, and we'd hunt at night. But we had the ducks raised up, you know. And one day I put
That's not here. Yeah, I saw the mayor. That's not sure.
You be sure, let me pose for you before you take that.
Kermit, you didn't think I saw you behind that camera. So the whole game.
Thorn Prejean. You want it at the front.
Right, let's get in draw.
Got the governor right there, the sheriff of Robin Hill right here. Sheriff of Robin Hill.
You're gonna make headlines.
We've been told the governor is approaching the building and is being interviewed outside. He will begin momentarily, so if everybody will take their seats when he gets in, we'll start with the program.
Where's the governor?
Right there.
Is there, governor?
Comment la vie?
Comment la vie? Comment ça va? Welcome to Abbeville.
Ardley, Ardley's only surviving uncle, 90 years old. He wants to meet you. Come in, Joe.
Please take the seat so we can start the program. Please take the seat. 2 minutes to post time.
How you doing, Joe? No, this is the governor. How you want to be? This is Ardley's uncle.
Arnie's cousin. Arnie's nephew.
Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Glad to see you. Glad you could come. I'm missing you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed you.
Hey, great, just great. Just hot turn next.
You deserve every good word that was said about you.
Good deal.
Thank you, now.
I can't forget all the goodness you did for cleaning.
It's been a while, bud.
One of my maids that I had years and years ago.
Not too good.
I did the best I could.
You did.
Hey,
You did, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. Love you.
Congratulations.
Hey, Christopher, my favorite son. My favorite son. Baby. I'm so happy you came. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Well worth.
Thank you.
Dr. Hebert, I'd like you to meet Phil Chandler. He did the entertainment for us tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. You have a card?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I'll get hold of him if you need him.
Okay. Great enough fun to get him to come to camp one night.